guys, welcome to Ghost Talk. This is Harold St. John, founder of Toledo Ghost Hunter Society. Apparently, we have some paranormal activity going on in the house. We lost our audio. I'm hoping that it's back, and I'm hoping that everybody can hear me. If you do, send in a comment that I can be heard. Once again, tonight's guest is my founder, Butch Leon. Our special guest tonight is Al Luna and Tammy Luna from PSEI. Welcome to the show tonight, guys.
Thank you.
I apologize for some of the technical difficulties. This is kind of funny. I'm going to share this with you real quick. A couple of weeks ago, Al's going to talk about the Paranormal Toledo Convention, and during one of Al's shows, Becky's going cut. We were haunted by some technical difficulties at that time as well, but I think we're up and running. So welcome to the show again, and I apologize for any delays that it's caused. Anyways, Al, a couple of weeks ago, we worked together. We got to spend a weekend together at the Paranormal Toledo Convention, something that I was looking forward to being involved in. And you had called me a couple of months ago and said you had this thing that you were working on, a convention. I didn't know if you could pull it off or not, but it sure worked out well for us. And there were so many other paranormal groups there, some psychic readers, and I think it was a fun time by all. Tell us how you got this thing going.
Well, actually, Harold, Chris Tillman, my wife, and I had been talking about wanting to put together a convention for the paranormal in Toledo. You see them all throughout the country. You see them pop up on Facebook. You see websites with them. So we thought, hey, why not Toledo? You know. So we went through the process of trying to decide where would be a good location. And of course, the Collingwood Arts Center has a facility. It has a haunting history. It was a perfect location for us.
Great building.
So we went ahead and contacted them, talked to Lexi, the manager there, and she was on board right away. She said, look, I got some other people that I think would work real well on the board. So we formed a board, we started contacting people, and we started putting it together. And of course, I wanted to have you on board. I know you're a great presentation person, and your team is known throughout Toledo area and even outside of Toledo. So we were proud to have you guys there, and everyone seemed real happy with the way it came up.
With that being said, I mean, given its haunted location, and actually a couple of members of our own group and other people that I talked to throughout the day, one person said they thought they saw the nun. Another lady was coming down the hallway really excited, said that she thinks her clothing was tugged on. So, I mean, haunted during the daytime, and what a phenomenal place, what a phenomenal weekend I think it was. I don't know how many different groups were there. We made some new friends. Joe and Utah, I can't remember her first name, from 222 Paranormal interviewed us.
Yeah.
What great people there. We're going to use them, and I think in the future on something else that you
Yeah,
got skiing.
Jennifer and Joe.
Yeah, what great people. And I also got to spend the day with Chris Tillman. You had mentioned Chris Tillman from Haunted Toledo. Chris Tillman is a good friend of both of ours. And Butch and I, as well as you and Tammy, have worked with him on investigations as well.
Right.
What a great addition to have on your investigation. He brings a lot of knowledge to the table, and what a great guy. Anyways, I'm hoping that we get to do that again next year. I hope you can pull that off again.
We plan on it.
So, anyways, I wanted to do this show tonight, and we had to wait till tonight to do it because someone told me you might have been in Gettysburg for a couple of weeks. I know Butch went to Gettysburg several years back, and I think maybe you thought you saw maybe a soldier or something. I remember you talked about that. So how was your trip to Gettysburg?
Oh, we had a great time in Gettysburg. All the team got to go except one member. It was a shame that he couldn't make it, but after we got to Gettysburg, the very day that we got there, we investigated a location called the Murder House. The team was excited. We got there, we set up equipment. And actually, the tour company that we did this through, they had a gentleman out there with us most of the night, off and on. And one thing that I was real proud of at the end of the night, and I know Tammy was too, is this guy said that he's been an investigator for almost 20 years. And he said that he learned several things from our team that night. So we were pretty happy to hear that. Had a lot of activity on our equipment that night. We had the names of the lady that was murdered in the house, her boyfriend that shot her, and so on. So we had a lot of activity that night. That was a great time. Well, then the next day, Saturday, we just let everyone roam the town of Gettysburg. Everyone had a good time. It was Saturday night. We jumped in a couple cars and drove the battlefield.
Are you allowed to be on that battlefield?
Well, after 10 o'clock, it's theoretically closed.
Right. I've heard those rumors.
Yes, they said as long as you don't get out of your car and stray away, you're okay. It can be a $5,000 fine if you're caught out on a battlefield.
Wow, that's a lot of full spectrum cameras.
Yes, you ain't kidding. But you know, we captured a lot of great pictures that night, and actually we would stop the cars as a couple of our sensitive members would feel things in the area, and we actually heard cannon fire after the cars had shut off
really
once.
Cool.
We heard musket fire twice, and then as we pulled up to a wooded area, I started calling for the soldiers to come out and line up and get ready for battle, and we could literally hear footsteps all around the car.
I seen on Ghost Adventures a year or two ago when they did Gettysburg and the murder house. It intrigued me, but they had captured and documented a lot of paranormal activity as well. They also, on one of their heat sensing cameras, I think they actually picked up one of the soldiers and was walking around. So it was really kind of cool. So is this place haunted?
Oh, definitely. The whole town of Gettysburg. I mean, if you walk around there, you're gonna feel them. You're gonna sense them. It's all over.
Well, I think, us telling our audience, that, hey, we've been to Gettysburg and it was kind of haunted. Do you have any pictures or anything that you're posting on your Facebook or somewhere? Tell us what you got.
Yep, we will definitely be posting a lot of pictures. We have to get our pictures together from all the different team members, but I'll be posting some going forward. I know that we have a lot of super orb pictures that are around the cannons and the different monuments that are out. So it's, we got a lot of cool things. So we're going to be posting a lot of different things.
Well, and I think that's cool. If you guys go after the show, if you go to PSEI Paranormal Spirit Investigations, you can go to Al's page and you'll have some pictures. I think we have a comment. Do we have a comment?
Well, we have a couple of questions. One about the battlefield. Tim wants to know, do you find that battlefield sites have more paranormal activity, and did you catch any images of anything cool while you were there?
Okay, we didn't capture any, images of ghosts themselves. We didn't capture the soldiers, but we will have a couple pictures that we'll put out where we actually captured mist that was around the car. So things were trying to form that night.
Tim, thanks for the comment.
Yes.
After the show, Tim, go to PSEI's Facebook page, and Al and Tammy have got a bunch of pictures that are probably posted or going to be posted shortly.
We'll be getting them out.
So,
there's another just ghost hunting in general question for you, asking if the spirits that you encounter, mainly are they good spirits, or do you deal with more negative things?
Hey, Gettysburg?
No, in general.
In general. Okay, as far as that goes, we formed our team to help people. So we have a tendency to end up getting calls from people that have more of the negative things. So we've run into a lot of negativity in the entity world, which we do house blessings, cleansings, we've done exorcisms. So, but we have been in a lot of houses that have real friendly entities. Actually, one of our team members, we've investigated her house twice. And the reason she wanted to become a team member is because she wanted to help people that are having the negative things.
That's absolutely.
Because she has the good things, and she's happy. But, she knows they're out there.
Well, we're kind of a like-minded group of individuals, I'd say. And sometimes it's where you get your strongest investigators, somebody that's been through it, that's witnessed it themselves, that's, had that experience. I know Butch and I, when we met years ago, Butch was involved when he was young. It was some hauntings, and I think that's how it started. Our very first conversation it wasn't so much about forming a group or becoming a member of a group. It was Butch was telling us of his experiences with the paranormal, and some good, some bad, some indifferent, and then of course I come from the same kind of background, and our like-mindedness, our experiences that we have that were very much in common, caused us to get together and say, hey, maybe we can help some other people that are going through these same things, that are experiencing the same type of paranormal activity that we did as individuals. I think it's a good thing that we're doing it. I think this is a great story. I think Gettysburg is a wonderful place. I personally have never been there. It looks like everybody here at the table has been there, but me, once again, I missed out on all of it. But I think you can see some of the pictures that Al's done on PSEI on his Facebook page. We have some other things, and we're short on time, so we're going to take another comment in a second. But as you're sharing these, you're doing some PowerPoint presentations. I think you have on the 13th the Way Library in Perrysburg. Are you going to share any of the things that happened in Gettysburg at that time? Tell us about your next show that you're going to be giving.
Yes, on the 13th of October, the Way Library in Perrysburg on Louisiana and Indiana Avenues. We plan on plugging in a lot of our Gettysburg experience as well as many others, from the local area. It is a total PowerPoint presentation. We actually help the crowd to feel like they're part of a presentation or part of a ghost hunt throughout it. So come out and visit us, and we actually have some trivia questions that we throw out there too, so sharpen up on your ghost hunting information.
That's awesome. Speaking of libraries, Butch and I have our group has a library event coming up as well. We're going to be at the Birmingham Library
on the 11th.
On the 11th, Tuesday the 11th. I think that's going to go on. That's an afternoon show, so I think it's more in tune maybe with the younger crowd, where yours might be more adult oriented that night. And we're going to follow it up the next day, Tuesday. I think the 12th at West Park Place for a luncheon. So I think we're all busy. It's October. It's the season's upon us. So we got a lot of activity going on. And I think do you have another comment there, Beck, that you wanted to shout out to us?
I have two, if you have time for
we
them.
have time.
James would like to know, do you recommend any books or other resources for people who want to learn more about paranormal investigation?
Jamie, what do you think of that?
Anything that you recommend that?
I think a lot of people go online to look for majority of people go online for looking for places to go to, the haunted places. Now I think that's the way, everybody is. It's just not a go look for a book. But the libraries do have a lot of haunted books. So, that's a reference that I would suggest.
Do you remember when we were kids, when you would go to the library? I mean, paranormal, the whole ghost hunting thing has changed so much in the last, and you and I have discussed this a dozen times. Do you remember going to the library 15 years ago? Hi, my name's Harold. Do you have a book on poltergeist or any of those topics that would involve the paranormal? And they would say, they would back up a little bit and get a good look at you. And they go, yes, it's in the last aisle 27.
In the back.
It's in the back of the dark and on the bottom shelf. And when you bring that book back up, Joe will help you check it out. I think even the libraries. I mean, there's aisles of books on the paranormal, and I mean, it's just come. We've gotten more scientific, I think, in the last few years. I think there's a different approach to this. It's not all boo, and I think there's a lot of answers that are questions that need to be answered that aren't at this time. And I think books are a great resource. We have one more. You want?
Yeah, I would say look up any of John Kachuba's books.
Yeah.
He has a lot of good books in the library. One of them's Haunted Ohio.
Right.
And
on the road again. Another thing is, I can't remember. I'm not good with this, but there's a whole series of 5 or 6 books on Haunted Ohio, right here, local haunting. So, what's our next comment? Thanks, James, for your comment.
Ed wants to know if a spirit is encountered that is negative. How can you safely get rid of it without making it angry?
Well, this is
maybe not make it angry anymore. Maybe
that's a good
change
question.
its tune.
That's a great question. And then you could jump right in. Usually, what I do is send my group in, to deal with that, and I'll stay outside and have a cup of coffee. No, that's not really true. Our particular group, and Al has his own way of doing things as well. We have a tranquility specialist, Michelle Maddox, who she couldn't be here tonight. She's at the Oliver House, believe it or not, doing a ghost walk and trying to set us up for a future investigation. And that was what I was telling you about, that maybe if we don't get to do the Collingwoods Art Center, maybe we can do something like that together. Okay. So she goes and offers house blessings and some other things that are a little bit maybe deeper that she can do. I've been with her. I've videotaped them. I've taken pictures, but I'm a documenter, and I that's what I am. It's taken me a lot of years to realize what I am. When we get into the dark side, I mean, obviously I've been in lots of cases where it falls, but I think our group is surrounded by some pretty good people. They're already angry, and if it's something demonic, they were never alive. They were never human beings. So, I mean, there's many different types of hauntings. And demonic is very, very rare. So, what do you guys do if you've gotten into a case, and we'll kind of speed this along. We may even go over a couple minutes because we've got a lot of comments.
Okay.
I think I'm excited. I don't know about you.
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking about what I always want to talk about. If you have a particular case and it gets a little bit dark and a little bit scary, once you've done your investigation and you realize what would you do? What do you do when you encounter something maybe on the dark side?
Well, when we get a call from someone and they explain to us the negative things that are happening to them, like they're being scratched, they're being held down in bed or on their couch, whatever the situation, they have things being thrown at them, thrown in the house. I always take my bag with me that has all of my artillery in it. I've done white candle blessings. Those are on the minor things that are out there. I've done sage blood, cleansings, where I'll go around the house, the building, completely with the sage to chase out whatever negative thing is there. I've also done holy water blessings. And then I also have a recording of our Roman Catholic priest friend that did an exorcism for us, and that's actually helping people also. I'll literally replay that on the loudspeaker in the house. Then I'll go around with the holy water. And we've had many people that we have helped to get these entities out of their home, these spirits that, they don't want there.
It's a great service that can be offered to people. Sometimes, with all the years of doing this, I've learned that sometimes, no matter what we do, it takes time for a house to go quiet. We may have to go in and pray over the people that live there, pray over the property on several occasions. I mean, this is not as easy as some people think.
Right.
And sometimes we had a particular case on Maxwell where it's taken 5 years for the house to finally go quiet. Do we have any other comments, or we have some other things?
Yeah, we've got 3 questions actually.
Go ahead, fire one at us.
A good thing you're speaking of the dark side. Tim wants to know, in your experience, have you had more encounters with malevolent as opposed to benign entities? And maybe you can give us an example of one of those experiences.
Why don't you go ahead? Why don't you jump in here? Let's talk about Feltman, which was kind of dark.
That one, that was a different case. This guy here actually knew that we more or less was coming in. And no, that was no Felton. Excuse me. I was down in this bank building, and I was asking, doing an EVP session, and I smelled smoke. And this guy, he came out with this raspy comment to me, and he told me not to breathe. So.
I think what we encountered here, and then you guys can pipe in as well. The scientific approach to all this is when you're running EVPs, digital recording is all by megahertz, and I think as we've all learned over time in our field, positive energies run a little bit higher, a little bit faster, where negative energies seem to run much lower and much slower. And we can read these things on wave editors or a bunch of different programs that you can have to help you, with your EVPs. I think the thing is, once in a while you'll pick up something lower than what our human ears can hear. I mean, you've heard the old say that whales communicate, elephants communicate through the hooves of their feet for up to 10 miles. Sometimes you get an EVP that you can hear with your naked ear, but sometimes you'll get it way above the spectrum of our human, which is a really good entity most times. But then every once in a while, like the case Butch was talking about, it was a very dark, a very slow, very low megahertz on a digital recorder. I'm sure you've had to encounter a particular case too that maybe stands out in your mind where you knew it was negative.
Yeah, we've had the same thing. Those positive things. A few of our members have actually heard them with their ear. They couldn't tell what it said right then, but when we play it back, boom, there it is. Those negative things, sometimes we capture those after the fact, because we just can't hear it. But our team does work with a psychic medium. Bob is part of our team, and we contact him every investigation, and he's usually able to tell us right away if we're dealing with something negative, something positive, and that gives us a good direction to go in.
I think something that we've learned over the years, energy is what all this is all about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Einstein proved that 100 years ago, better than 100 years ago. When it comes to energy, you can't create it, you can't destroy it. There is no beginning, there is no end.
Right.
Although it can change form, it can be weighed and measured. Well, I think if your energy, if you were a bully in life, once you pass away, you're probably still that same bully.
Yes.
Not necessarily demonic, not necessarily the devil himself, but I just think you're that negative energy.
Yeah.
And if you're a really good person in life, that's probably what you're going to be in. So every investigation we take, I mean, we're dealing with things, and the angle in which we investigate depends on our research, depends on, and that's why research is so important. What are we going in there for? What are we going to be dealing with when we get there? Will it, could it be something very dark, very demonic? Or is it just, Joe, the guy that was bullying and pushing everybody around?
Right.
That's a great question. I don't know, in the year's 2016, if we have all the answers tonight. But that being said, I think some of them are there. Do we have another comment?
Yeah, James wants to know if there's increased paranormal activity around Halloween. Do you get more calls?
I have a short one. Go ahead. I want you to answer that.
Honestly, we don't seem to get that many more calls, but we get a lot more of the curiosity calls. And a lot of times we just can't fit all those in because we need to help the people that really have the issues.
And I think that's a great answer. The other thing I think that that we all are aware of as well, they talk about this veil between the living and the dead, and they say, the old Wiccan religion, and the veil closes as we get closer to All Hallows Eve. Is there some truth to that? I think so, but I also, here's the thing. We just talked about this a few minutes ago. The last 15 years, I mean, guys like you are celebrities. I mean, you're out there in the public, and people want your autographs, and I think you're one of those particular groups that are very good. With that being said, there's a lot of public events now. They want you to come to luncheons. They want you to do PowerPoints. The public wants to come to you to be educated, to learn something. So not only do I think sometimes our investigations may pick up a little bit, I think our public events and the interest in what we're doing is really under the microscope and under the spotlight, from in October. I mean, even us, October 2nd, on a Sunday evening, we're doing our first episode of Ghost Talk for the kickoff of the season. Mm-hmm. So even us who are in an investigation, we're doing this. So go ahead. It's a great question.
Jimmy would like to know, what is the most haunted place you investigated?
Great. Why don't you say one, and Butch will come back with one.
Most haunted place. It's kind of a toss-up. I'd say it's between a location up in Sand Creek, Michigan, and one in the Point Place, Toledo area. We had great activity at both, and actually, sometimes I tend to lean towards the Sand Creek, Michigan one a little more, because we've pretty much been able to tie in that the entities that are roaming around this house every once in a while are from a train accident that happened back in 1901.
Wow.
And, they just this last week did a memorial for this train accident finally. And maybe it will actually put some of these souls to rest.
Yeah, maybe that. Yeah, absolutely. But sometimes when you figure out what the story is, that's part of that's helped solve the whole thing. Which we've been on a ton of investigations together. I'm sure you and I's opinions are going to be different, but what was the most haunted location that you think that we did?
It either could be the one in Athens, or it could be the one right over near Upton and Door.
Well, see, I just think that maybe I thought we were different, but we're not different. I have to agree with you. Athens was, well, you were pushed down.
Yeah,
Athens.
I was actually shoved right down and turned around, and there was nobody there.
And
I thought it was one of our guys playing a trick on me.
Yeah.
And I was just
I
shoved
think
right to the ground.
That's when you were physically attacked. I was out having coffee at that time.
Right.
Yeah, I believe I was too. That's a great question. Do we have one more? Let's go one more. I think the show's going to go over 5 or 10 minutes, and if it does, it does. Listen, from all of us to you guys, thanks for joining us tonight. The comments are awesome. I think this is great. And the good news is you can join be here again for Ghost Talk next Sunday at 7 o'clock. And I expect every single one of you guys to be here again next week. Go ahead with our next comment.
We'll be watching.
Sarah would like to know what, besides demonic entities, what are some other typical types of hauntings you come across?
Man,
Go ahead.
I think this is and I'm sure Al will agree. There's no specific number of the different types of hauntings. Al or I or Tammy or Butch could probably list 15 of them right off the top of my head. You know, intelligent, residual, you know, poltergeist, demonic. There's Hatman versus Shadow Man.
Mothman.
Yeah, there's so many different types of hauntings. I think for us, anyways, I think the most common hauntings we have would be either A, intelligent, B, residual, and you can go to either one of our websites or Facebook to find out what these are, or maybe poltergeisty. Residual meaning that the activity's going on in the house and they're not even aware that we're in the house. Intelligent is when they know our name, they know we're there, and they can communicate with us. So those would be some very common ones. But I think there's 17 very common different types
A
of
lot of
hauntings.
different things.
That's a great question, Sarah.
You know, and just to spin off of that, to even get a little more specific, I mean, you're talking about demonic, negative entities, and I think the vast majority of a lot of the hauntings are actually those lost souls that haven't crossed over, or it's the family members that have even come back to protect. You know, they're watching over the grandchildren,
Sure.
they're watching over us, you know, because they want to make sure that in our life's travels, we're not really harmed. So.
You know, I think one of the saddest things that we've encountered that I feel is sad is when you're doing an investigation and you're picking up activity from somebody that doesn't know they passed away. I mean, and
Yeah.
guess what? We're the first ones to tell them.
Yeah.
To me, that's always been kind of bothersome to me.
Mhm.
I find a lot of hauntings are somewhat sad, if that makes any sense. I mean, obviously they're reaching out for help, and most times that's what they're trying to do. It's not as scary or negative. They're doing anything they can to get our attention because usually either A, a story to be told, or B, more than likely they need some help. That was a great question. We have no more comments right now.
Not at this time.
Okay, excuse me. I think what we're going to do is, I know we've been on for close to 30 minutes. I want to thank a couple of people. Corey's here tonight from PSEI. He does Al and Tammy's tech work, and of course Becky's running the camera tonight because we had a Jake, our young director of youth education, is home sick tonight, so he couldn't make it. I think Becky's doing a great job, and I want to personally thank you. You know, Butch comes out for everything. Whatever I do, Butch does. And vice versa. So we have some great things coming up again. I want to also tell everybody, and I'm going to put my glasses on. Al and Tammy's going to be October 13th at the Way Library in Perrysburg. You're going to give a show from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Here's the neat thing, guys. You can come out to their show, and they're going to show you a lot of good stuff. And it's entertainment, I get that, and a good time. But you're going to gain some knowledge, maybe get some of your questions answered. And I think it's worth doing. So visit Al's Facebook page at PSEI Investigations. We're going to come back again at Birmingham. When did you say we're doing that?
The 11th.
Yeah, Tuesday the 11th. We're going to be at Birmingham Public Library in Hunkytown, followed by a luncheon at West Park Place the next day. I think this is a great opportunity. If you guys come out to these public things, we're going to give up a PowerPoint presentation, put it on a big screen. We got some fun activities going on, and we'll be giving away some T-shirts and tote bags. I'm sure Al's got some fun things going on as well. But here's the good news. If you're really interested in what we do, the founders of both these groups, this is an opportunity to come out and meet us firsthand and meet our groups and get a chance to talk and mingle with us. And I think that's good. But the other thing is you'll be able to get an opportunity to come into some of our most haunted locations. We can show you what the location is. We can take you inside. We can share any documented evidence that we may have had. So I think these shows are worth going. And here's a big one. We're going to give a shout out here to us. Butch Leon here has set us up for Springfield Township Hall on Thursday, October 27th. This is going to be our big show. As Al's and Tammy's winding down their Halloween season, we're going to wind down our Halloween season. We're going to get back together Thursday, October 27th at the Springfield Township Hall. We're going to give a presentation from 7 to 9. And this is really cool. Becky's going to be putting some of the PowerPoint presentation together with Corey. They're going to mingle them, and we're going to go back and forth, and you're going to hear two groups. So, and maybe some difference of opinions on some things,
Hey, that's
which
very possible.
is really interesting. So, this is all about paranormal unity. I'm glad that Al and Tammy and Butch and I have all gotten together here. So I want to make sure everybody's aware of that. You can see it on our Facebook page as well, Toledo Iowa Goal Centers. You can also visit our website at www.toghs.org. We're trying to keep it up to date as much as we can. Becky and Tammy have put together, in conjunction with the Good Samaritan Outreach Center of Springfield, Ohio, where obviously our presentations are free for this at this event, but we're asking everybody if they wouldn't mind to bring out a non-perishable item. It's kind of an admission. You don't have to, but I think it would be a good thing. And then Becky and Tammy make sure it goes to the Good Samaritan Outreach Center of Springfield with the upcoming holidays and Thanksgiving coming. I think it's needed. So once again, Tammy, thank you for joining us.
Thank you
Al,
for having us.
Harold,
nice having you.
thank you much.
And Butch,
Great to be here.
as always, nice seeing you. Guys, from me, happy haunting, stay safe. Let's tell us goodbye.
Thanks for watching, folks.
See you, everybody.